Back in '63, it really was. Some of you will remember the excitement in the little world of folk music when it was discovered that John Hurt was alive and living in Avalon, Mississippi, and playing music. They brought him up to the Newport Folk Festival that year, and by great coincidence, it was my first year there, and I got to see this little guy play an afternoon workshop, and then that night, they put him on a stage in front of 18,000 people, every single one of whom he charmed. And by some movement of the gods, I don't know how it happened, but a couple weeks later, John came to the Gaslight where we were all playing and joined us for a couple weeks. We got to hear him 3 or 4 times a night, which was a lifetime experience. And about 10 years after this sweet little old man who loved the ladies and loved the bourbon left us, this song, more or less in his style, showed up in the back of my head, turned out to be about him. It went like this: 3, 4. It was a frosty night. It was beginning to snow. And down the city streets, the wind began to blow. We all came to the cellar. We all emptied the bar to hear a little old feller play a shiny guitar. Did you hear John Hurt play the Creole bell? Spanish fandango that I love so well. Did you love John Hurt? And did you shake his hand? Did you hear him singing his Candyman? Oh, did you hear him singing his Candyman? On a straight back chair with a felt hat on, he tickled our fancies with his Avalon. And everybody passing down McDougal Street will cock their heads and listen to the tapping feet. Did you hear John Hurt play the Creole bell? Spanish fandango that I love so well. Did you love John Hurt? Did you shake his hand? Did you hear him singing his Candyman? Oh, did you hear him singing his Candyman? My Creole belle, my Creole belle, I love her well, I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle, my Creole belle. The stars do shine, the stars do shine, then she'll be mine, then she'll be mine, my darling baby, my Creole belle. It was a frosty night, it was beginning to snow, and down the city streets the wind began to blow. We all came to the cellar, we all emptied the bar to hear a little old feller play your shiny guitar. Did you hear John Hurt play the Creole bell? The Spanish fandango that you love so well. Or did you love John Hurt? Or did you shake his hand? Did you hear him singing his Candyman? Oh, did you hear him singing his Candyman? Thank you. We played at Swallow Hill in Denver a couple weeks back and sang that song, and I got to play that song on John Hurt's guitar. What a lifetime experience that was. Well, one of those of us who was there during that 2 weeks with John Hurt was my dear old friend, and perhaps yours, Dave Van Ronk. I met Dave back in 1960 while I was still in the Army at Fort Dix, New Jersey, in the esoteric clerk typist school, where they sent those of us with a distinctly superior aura about them. I must admit that, I must claim that I was in fact the honor graduate of my class at the clerk typist school. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to put that on my Facebook page, all right? I mean, we need all the honors we can get, and that was a good one. And anyhow, I would come into New York on the weekends, and I met Dave there, and he was playing at the Commons, which is a coffee house across the street from the Gaslight, and he'd hire me for Friday and Saturday nights, and I got something like $10 a night, and how you spent that much money I didn't know, but when I got back to Fort Dix, what it meant was that I was liberated from going to that god-awful mess hall for lunch. I would take my folk wealth and bop over to the PX and buy myself a cheeseburger. It was my first indication of how the money was going to roll in. Because I had my dark night of the soul, you see. I had started out wanting to be an actor, but I succumbed to reality and settled instead for the security of folk music, where I have lolled all these years. So, anyhow, Dave Van Ronk, for those of you who didn't know him, was a wonderful musician, a very innovative guitar arranger. His arrangements of Scott Joplin rags for the guitar have bewildered guitarists ever since. And he had an incredible repertoire. He would finish a raucous Delta blues and without pausing break into "Would You Like to Swing on a Star?" which kept audiences somewhat off balance. And, anyhow, he was a wonderful guy. He was my great friend. He was my best man when I married Midge in '63. As far as I'm concerned, he's still the best man. We called him the mayor of MacDougal Street.